We got Miss Pop Out.
Jewelry.
Miss Jewelry Clinton. Give it up for Katie. Katie.
I don't know how to do it. I'm all off, but you know, I know what I meant to do.
Y'all done shot everybody in the ball.
Yes, how you coming, Katie?
How I'ma leave me out? Pop Out gonna always be a motherfucking anthem.
I hope he's gonna put it on there.
Shit, I dropped.
YT's, as you put it, is crashed out. You told these kids
To pop out, Katie. You told them to pop out. Where that gun at? You got that gun on you? Hold on. Let me pat you down. Did y'all search her? Hold on. Security. Did y'all
That was a
search
prompt.
her? Y'all ain't search her?
That was a problem.
Okay, you got the. Okay.
And if I don't, I bet my team. So tell your man, number friend. And if he did it good, I might come back.
With
Katie.
you feel me, the one and only Katie Got Bandz in the building. How you feeling?
I feel good.
Yeah?
I'm honored to be here.
Well, you need to know first and foremost that in this building we respect Katie Got Bandz. We're all big fans of your music and everything over the years. So yeah,
And vice versa.
oh yeah,
This is a legendary one right here. You know what I'm saying? I've been waiting to get this one, and I'm like, damn, we got Katie today. Come on, that's legendary.
yeah. I still remember like going down the rabbit hole once I first like kind of got interested in drill when Sosa was coming out, and then finding you and just being like, holy shit, these Chicago kids are f***ing crazy. She got a gun in the video.
That was a prop.
Yeah, all right, for sure. We know there's no handguns floating around Chicago or anything like that. But anyway, welcome to No Jumper.
Thank you all for having me.
For sure.
Girl, we just eat the thing. And then you play.
Okay, how long ago?
2011.
Okay. Did you end up doing jail time over this?
When I violated.
Oh, okay.
But I
so you
had to
got put
bond out
on.
again.
Okay, so you got put on probation.
No, I'm still fighting it.
Oh, you're still fighting it. Okay, so when you violated, you got put in for how long?
32 days with no bond.
And had you been locked?
Actually a compliment.
Okay.
I'm a young
We got
legend.
a legend in the building. There you go. We got a young legend in the building. We got Chicago's own. She been doing it for so many years, killing the game. The first lady of drill, AKA Drillery Clinton. Please welcome to Vlad TV, my girl Katie Got Bandz. Katie, what up, girl?
What it do? I'm honored to be back again.
Welcome back to Vlad TV. It been a long time coming. We got a lot to catch up on, and you know, you got a lot going down this week. And typically I don't start my interviews off getting right into it. I get the backstory, but I got to start with this whole Asian doll thing. What is going on with you and Asian doll?
Nothing, just talent. I'm just showcasing my talent.
Between y'all come from? Was this something that was brewing over time? Was it something that was said, something that was done? You just dropped a diss record or previewed a diss record. That didn't come from nowhere.
There wasn't a diss record. I don't do diss records.
What you call it?
I delivered a statement on the record.
Okay. So again, where did all that come from, if you don't mind me asking?
Disrespect.
Who taught this how that she queen of the drill? Bitch, I'm the queen of the drill. Lace them boots up, boys, about to get real. Little bitch is about to get real. Who on my crown, come fight to the death of it.
You took that as a disrespect.
She threw shots at me. That was the disrespect when it was direct to me. She disrespected my city, our culture, my throne. That's why she got a response from me, but I'm not going back and forth with all that. If you say you the queen, own up to it. Like, but you will never be me. If I stop rapping today, you will never be me. Like, I'm having fun. Like, I'm not at home mad and doing all of that, trying to gang up with people to do nothing. I'm one of a kind. I'm unstoppable by myself. My talent and work speak for itself. I don't have to argue. My legacy speak for itself. Like,
Crazy. So there's a viral picture of you holding like that little PP shooter gun. It was, I don't know, it was like a little crazy gun. All right. What music video was that from? Is that the I Need a Hitter?
No, let's go in, Shady. Shady
All right,
go
so
with
that's
D.
going.
Game shot that.
All right, so that video, that picture became like a meme. Everybody used to be sharing that picture, like
Still right now.
still even till it come up. You know what I'm saying? Break down that day, because you and Shady, y'all don't see eye to eye anymore either.
Who?
But you and Shady,
Me, I don't see eye to eye.
from last I seen you on I think it was maybe J Main interview. You kind of was like taking shots at her.
I ain't beefing with her.
So what was y'all problem anyway?
She just a hating ass bitch. I still love her. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. So what did she
and
say?
And then
for
it's
you?
like, I called you my little sister. You gonna go fuck with my ops, but who would it? I mean, I'm me. Like,
Yeah.
even and then you going to fuck with my ops didn't even put you where you need to be.
Cause y'all had a real relationship before the music, or was it just music?
I was the reason why that video was the way it was. We had a real live sisterhood relationship, but
Yeah.
I ain't gonna get into that. It is what it is. I wish her the best. It ain't nothing like, cause if we see each other right now, she ain't gonna run up on me. She know better, like, and I ain't gonna run up on her. But I ain't ducking it either, though. Like,
Lost my way, but yeah, that's how that street shit went. It was just a bunch of dissing.
Yeah. So, you know, how was it for you?
yo,
You don't really be props.
oh, I don't even listen.
I know about the gun case you got.
I beat that, because it one man.
Break this shit down, Katie. So hold on.
They put that on me. I
they-
never saw that gun a day in my life.
So it went. So you ain't. Was that a deuce or a deuce 5 that you had in the video? Not the one you got caught with. In the. Was that the prop? Was that a deuce prop or deuce? Am I doing it? Am I doing it right? Like, let's break this shit down.
You gotta
Katie.
put a little shoulder with it.
I gotta put a. Do you gotta hit the shema with it? Is it the shema thing with it? Like, okay, it hit different.
No.
Let's break that shit down.
Don't make fun of him.
No, cause it seemed like you. It seemed like y'all. I don't know. It hit different. I ain't making.
To be honest, I can never catch that same feeling that I caught no matter how many times I do the dance.
Straight up.
Because it was like that was not playing.
What's Shady at? We gonna start there. Where's Shady?
Who was that?
Technically, huh?
Who was Shady?
What you mean? Who's Shady?
Who was Shady?
Break this shit. Chicago, y'all be moving, man. Break this
What?
shit down. When you went viral in that video, it was a Shady music video, right?
Mm.
Why Chicago? Put it like this: what happened with you and Shady? Can we get the real story? We right here on Whoops. Cause I used to look at it like, okay,
That was my little sister.
but she disappeared
She a
off the scene
fucking
too?
goofy.
Okay.
Like, regardless of what went on with me and you, was between me and you, when this bitch Asian doll get to playing and disrespecting our city and playing with what the fuck we stand for, and like, you know what I'm saying, motherfucker putting real blood, sweat, and tears. If you was better off just not getting involved. You gonna pick a side, and then was acting like you was finna come back out rapping. Little illiterate ass little bitch. No, for real.
This is
She
a push
done.
a peace platform, Katie. Whoopsa.
What?
Whoopsa. Anytime you
I ain't got no bad blood with her, you know, but fuck her.
damn.
Yeah. I'm tired of like steady trying to show love and unity to people. If you on what you on, stand on that shit. But we ain't finna talk about no bitch for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Fuck her.
So
Commercial rapping ass and ain't even got no other songs. I
So
ain't
ye-
speaking on that bitch.
So y'all bumped heads because of Asian Doll. Speaking of Asian Doll,
She had just DM'd me though, like it's crazy. She just DM'd me, like, cause mind you, I dropped DC4 this year in 2022. and shit. I dropped DC4. I was, you know, pushing my music, doing singles, rocking arenas and shit with everybody, whatever this year. I did the record with Nicki, all that. Me and Asian, they are going back and forth. So, of course, you gonna go link up with my ops. You better, because you can't handle me by yourself. or teaming up on me. Like, even out here with my family, friends, that I've been getting teamed up against my whole life. Like, you know, you acting like y'all finna go do business and she finna fuck with you. What happened, dummy?
So you and Asian Dog bumped heads over that situation?
No, she was tweeting. She was tweeting the shit on Google everywhere, all over the everywhere. She was tweeting like she the queen of drill, woody,
Okay,
wood, whatever.
Okay, that was.
Oh fucking K.
Okay.
We all fucking kings and queens. I'm not arguing over no fucking name. That's childish as hell, you know. Then she got the over whooping. Like, change your name, I took it.
I was like, she was trying to check some shit. Okay.
So, I ignored the shit for like 2 weeks. And all I know, one day something came over me and said, no, my mama said, put your fucking foot on her neck. Cause first she kept saying, when my mama get to talking to me about real shit, sometimes she say Katie or she say Kiara, but this specific day Kiara, you don't water it, it won't grow. Girl, shut up. She went low, I'm going to hell. But I'm telling my mama, cause she don't got Twitter, I'm showing her like, man, I ain't just responding.
Right.
She
whooping.
Yeah. So now when I say something back,
I'm the bad.
it's like that shit stroked her ego or something.
Oh, I get what you
So once I caught on when we was going back and forth, and then we going back and forth with the music, I'm like, oh, okay. I'll go at it with any bitch because I don't know you. Beef is personal. But you said fuck my dead people, but oh fucking K. At the moment, I was mad, you know, who the fuck wouldn't be? That was the enemy. Right now, I don't give a fuck. If I see Asia down right now, I laugh at that bitch. She need help. She need to go to therapy. Like, bitch, you only go on the blogs about bullshit. You mean, like, how your mama doing, bitch?
Wait. Okay.
Crazy, that was Halloween, too.
Right.
That was Halloween, what, 2 years ago?
She just DM'd you, or how'd you hear from her?
She had been saying my name and doing my dance. When I had found out she was coming, I kept saying, like, I need to be on point, because I'll never be ready when people call. Well, used to. Now I do, because my mama used to be like, that's why I tell you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But this particular day, I had told one of my peoples that school with one of her peoples, like, tell her fuck with me when she gets to the city. I'm like, shit, I ain't even got to perform. This is what I'm telling them. Like, I ain't even got to perform. I just come in the building. This is how I treat all of them. Like, I mean, I don't have to hit the stage type shit, right? But I'll rock out and extend my hand if you know what I'm saying. But they ended up calling like 2 or 3 hours before the show.
Oh, shit.
And luckily, my hair was done. And I know how to do my own makeup. And I was like, I kept seeing it though, 2 days before it came. And then when the phone call came, I'm like, damn, I be calling stuff out. But she was real cool.
If you had just been like looking the worst you ever looked in your whole life, your hair was all fucked up, like would you have still found a way to pull up, put a hoodie on or something?
I would do a wig on with a hat. I did that when they called me to come to the Millennial Tour at the Wintrust Arena when I performed Boosie.
Oh, that's sick.
I wasn't ready that day. I threw a wig on. My auntie curled the ends of it, put my eyelashes on, I did my makeup, and I put on the White Sox hat.
So even that performance for the Millennial Tour was like a couple hours notice?
That wasn't even a couple. He called
Let them motherfuckers.
Let them hoes know.
Yeah. Katie. All right.
What she say?
But Nikki, I just want to tell you thank you for real. Like, we really appreciate
Yes, I love you, Nikki.
And you really come as mother and just really like
Yeah, well, for real. Thank you, Nicki Minaj, because you did not have to do this. You didn't. You didn't have to do this, and you know.
JT did this.
JT has to everything off. She coordinated.
I wasn't okay, because I'm a real girl's girl, and I wasn't gonna let them miss out. I'm starting group chats like, okay, how we about to go to Gag City? Because she said I started the group chat because I want us to all make it to Gag City and Boston.
Exactly.
What y'all wearing? What y'all wearing? And while she saw she thinks she the baddest bitch out of the queen.
She
is.
She is. Let her think that.
I said, what you wear? She's talking about, I'm wearing Da Vinci. What you thought? Of course I got that shit on. I'm just trying to make sure we all look at them mother.
For sure. Yeah, it seemed like the rap beef that kind of picked back up with the girlies. So now, cause now her reaching out to you, y'all doing a song together, cause this is narrative being put on Nicki that she don't want to see no other girls blow up when you feel me? She don't want to basically pass the torch, you feel me? So her pulling you feel me, looking out for you, reaching out to you type shit. How you feel about that narrative being put out?
I don't really know because I haven't worked with her.
You don't know
we worked over
got it
messages, and then I performed with her one time. Like I don't have a
y'all never had a chance to really sit down and pop
got
it
each other number type shit. Like so, I don't know. But at the end of the day, if a bitch music hot, they shit hot. A nigga too. Like so, it don't even matter if you my op or not. Like if you hot, you hot. Like
close now.
I ain't with the hating shit.
Close now. Go, what's that word? It's KB Nene, and I'm just a girl from Chicago. And you can get your official Just a Girl from Chicago merch available in women and men. I love girls from Chicago. Yeah, we got couples, his and hers. Get you one. Take pictures, tag me in them, and we got them in multiple different colors. You can get it at I'mJustAGirlFromChicago.com.
Before we begin, if you have watched every episode of this series from the beginning, if you have sat with the grief and the history and the complexity of everything we have documented together, this episode is for you. This is the one we have been building toward, not because it is the loudest, not because it contains the most controversy or the most violence or the most dramatic social media confrontations, but because it is about something that is harder to talk about than any of that. It is about what gets erased. It is about who gets forgotten. It is about the specific, painful, and entirely predictable process by which a person can build something lasting and real and important, and then watch the world walk through the door they built without ever turning around to acknowledge who opened it. If you are new here,
Right now for the drill. My little hitter still hungry. I'm trying to get him a meal. My OG need a new house. Still behind on them bills. So ain't shit you could tell me. I'm going in for the kill. Bitches frontin' they.
welcome. Subscribe right now. Not because we are asking you to perform loyalty before you have earned a reason for it, but because what we are about to walk through together is going to change how you understand Chicago drill music, how you understand the music industry, how you understand what it means to be a pioneer in a world that canonizes pioneers only after it has finished ignoring them. Watch God Work is the forensic record. And today, the forensic record is about a woman. Her government name is Kiara Johnson. She was born on July 22, 1993, on the south side of Chicago in a neighborhood called Bronzeville, a place with deep historical roots in Black American culture that stretch back to the Great Migration.
Check it out. This Real Talk Chicago right here with an exclusive interview with Katie Got Bandz, right here, a Chicago native. She rapping, she doing her thing out here, and she letting it know that not only all the guys can do it, female can do it too. She keep it real. Hey Katie, why don't you tell my fans like what about Katie Got Bandz?
Katie Got Bandz, an upcoming Chicago artist. Doing whatever to reach out to my fans, whether they big or small. I'm doing this because it's keeping me out of trouble and off the streets. And this is something I like doing. It's fun.
All right.
It's also comprised of Clarence Darrow Homes and Madden Park Homes,
was a Chicago Housing Authority public housing project located in the heart of the Bronzeville neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. The Ida B. Wells homes consisted of row houses, mid-rises, and high-rise apartment buildings. It was Chicago's fourth public housing project built before World War II, significantly larger than others, with 1,662 units, including 860 apartment units, nearly 800 row house and garden apartment units, and included a city park, Madden Park. During the 1970s, the Chicago Housing Authority no longer screened applicants closely and operated on a first-come, first-served basis, which brought in many residents with criminal and drug addiction backgrounds. By the 1980s and 1990s, the projects had severely deteriorated, becoming overrun with drug addicts and criminals, making them extremely unsafe. The Black Pea Stones gang in particular asserted authority over the area and residents of the Ida B. Wells homes. Eugene Hairston, co-founder of the Black Pea Stones, was shot dead at his home there in September 1988. Police presence in the projects was minimal, and daily gunfire echoed as Black Pea Stones and gangster disciples fought over drug turf.
Ida B. Wells, to Gwendolyn Brooks, to a lineage of Black creativity and Black survival that runs through its streets like water through old pipes, constant and mostly invisible to those who did not grow up drinking from it. She grew up on 39th Street in the Ida B. Wells homes, one of the largest public housing developments in the history of Chicago. She went to Truman College. She studied biology. She worked at a fast food restaurant. She had plans, conventional ones, the kind of plans that look responsible from the outside and feel from the inside, like a life chosen for you rather than a life you chose. And then, at 18 years old, she picked up a microphone. The world would come to know her as Katie Got Bandz. It would also...
And the jury, CPD came in. Okay, we riding around, we drilling shit. I'm a bad bitch, that's with the shit. All my hoes on bullshit, got big guns.
So in the years that followed, come very close to forgetting her entirely. This is the story of both of those things. The emergence and the erasure. The building and the being left out of the blueprint. This is the story of what happens when you arrive first in a room that later becomes famous. And when the people who filled that room after you either cannot or will not trace their footsteps back to yours. There is a verse in Psalm 118, 22nd verse. It says, "The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone." We will come back to that verse at the end of this documentary, but I want you to hold it now, because it describes, with the precision of something written thousands of years before any of this happened, exactly what the story of Katie Got Bandz is about. She was the stone, and for a long time, the builders forgot where they laid her. To understand what Katie Got Bandz
The godmama, this drill shit, you feel me? The queen of this drill shit. Do you, like, okay, how do I put this? As the godmother of drill, do you feel me? You feel like this shit is kind of, it can be like fixed kind of shit, or it's like, you feel me? But you can really give some advice, because I'm actually, as the godmother of drill, can you give some advice to the young YBs? But I don't know if you can get no
motherfuckers, they be talking crazy. And I don't look, clown shit I ain't entertaining, but disrespect, I'll die about that shit. But it's just like, I don't have a relationship with people to even be talking to them, for them to be coming off at me crazy. But if I can tell them something, I would tell them, live your life. Stop trying to get caught up in this shit, because as you can see, when you dead and gone, when you locked up, whatever, life is going on. All they gonna do is remember you on your death day, your birthday, while your people out here fucked up about it. Like all these GoFundMe gangbangers, like, it's like, and then I never in my life, see, because I always been that bitch since birth, but they can't even enjoy being famous because by the time they blow up, they dead. So it's like you did all that for what?
Real shit.
Then the labels, they got policies on every rapper. You better know it.
You think that shit have a lot to do with it? Because it do seem like the labels go after these ones that they know got all this real street shit attached to them. Like, y'all want to go for the ones with these images and with this type of bullshit because it sells, but
and it ain't even just with the violence, with alcoholism, substance, what labels or what managers or people is really going to get an artist some help. You got people under 20 years old ODing, like committing suicide, mental health real too, substance abuse real too. Like, but it's like they feel like if they ain't smoking or shooting somebody, they ain't cool. Like that ain't.
That's what the narrative is. That's why I spoke on this. I'm starting to like these little TikTokers. Cause in a way, it's kind of changing the narrative. It's showing the kids like you ain't got to be no YN, you ain't got to be no shooter. You can dance, you can have fun, you can enjoy being a child.
We grew up in the best era to be a kid and the worst era to be an adult.
Man, cause we didn't have the internet. Like, what you think the
the story of Katie Got Bandz from the get-go?
Well, I started rapping in 2011. You know, I caught the beginning of the wave.
Okay.
With my generation with drill music or whatnot.
Wait, but how old were you when you started?
I was 17 when I created I Need a Hitter.
Okay.
But I was 18 when we released the song.
Okay. Wait, but so you're from the Ida B. Wells building?
Yes, I'm from 39th Street, Bronzeville.
And do you have both parents around, or what was the home situation like?
My father was incarcerated.
Okay.
He did 27 years. He home now, but my mother, I was raised by a single mother.
Uh-huh. Okay. And was there
27 years?
Yes.
What do you do?
Something bad.
Murder, robbery, et cetera, et cetera.
For sure. Okay, so was there a lot of music in your home as a kid?
Yes. I grew up like music, my family party. So I come from a family party, my mother and father's side.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, they party, they dance, they do it.
Okay, so there was always
you can break your toe, my family gonna party. When your toe get fixed, they gonna throw you another party. Like they find any reason to have a party.
Holy shit! What were some artists that you remember hearing a lot of as a kid? What type of music?
Young Jeezy, Gucci Man. But if you want to go to like Chicago, like Kusha Conflict, Do or Die. Twista, of course.
Okay. Did you know anybody who was rapping?
No, I just started building relationships with these people, like with me being Katie Got Bandz. And I can't leave out Nicki Minaj. I grew up listening to her as well.
Okay, for sure. But so who kind of even gave you the idea to start rapping? Where did that come from?
I actually didn't get influenced by artists. I got influenced by Block on the Track. Shout out to Block on the Track. My cousin, my producer.
Oh, okay. So he was already doing his thing musically?
See, he used to rap, he produced, he's a entertainer as well.
And that's him yelling on a lot of your classics.
Yes. Block on the Track, then you know it's a hit or that. I told you I could get a little crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So he already had some artists that he was working with, and then did he just kind of say, hey, I see the potential for you as well?
Yeah, because of the lifestyle
Bandz built, you first have to understand the ground she built it on. Because the ground was not neutral. The ground was not level. The ground had been shaped and shaken and fractured by decades of decisions made by people in rooms far from the south side of Chicago. Decisions that left the communities that would eventually produce drill music in a state of extraordinary and specific precarity. Chicago, Illinois, third largest city in the United States, home of the blues, the house music that moved the world, the conscious hip-hop tradition that produced Common and Kanye West and Lupe Fiasco. A city with an extraordinary cultural legacy and an extraordinary capacity to contain that legacy in a bottle, to showcase it to the world while maintaining a careful physical and economic distance from the people who created it. The south side of Chicago in the early 2000s, The decade that would produce the teenagers who became the first generation of drill artists was a landscape shaped by disinvestment, by the systematic removal of resources from black neighborhoods that had been underway since.
Yes. Okay. King Louis, drill?
Yes.
Chief Keef, drill?
Yes.
Okay, a little dirty.
But like drill music came from King Louis and Pac-Man. Like Pac-Man is deceased now. But like Pac-Man is the person who started drill. But like him and Louis was close, like they was with the same movement or whatever, so he had parts in it too. But yeah, that's where drill music originally came from.
What happened to Pac-Man?
He's deceased.
He got killed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We just put up a story. Hold on, what's the date of this? We put this up yesterday, where Chicago just had its 250th murder this year. I mean, it's you're barely more than half the year in, and you got 250 murders. I mean, have you heard this number before? Are you surprised? No.
You see Chicago, they don't even call it Chicago no more, they call it Chirac because everybody is into it with everybody, trying to make a name for themselves. So as long as people keep feeling like they got to prove a point to somebody, then they're going to keep killing each other. So why would I be surprised if everybody trying to make a name for themselves?
Do you have friends that got killed when they were young? Yeah. When talking to people from Chicago, the one thing they said is different about Chicago in terms of like the murders is that it's mostly young kids. It's mostly like 16, 17-year-olds.
Under 21. Because the older people got the younger people hanging around them and training them and got them thinking that it's okay to do the same thing that they doing. So it's like, it's constantly repeating generation after generation. So like the older people got the younger people, then the people up under the younger people think it's okay to play with a gun. Like, so it's gonna keep on repeating.
So there's just guns all over Chicago.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
You see 250.
250 murders. Do you think that it'll change anytime soon?
Because people will feel like it's not gonna change because, say, like for example, if me and you if my people's and your people's in war, we kill some of y'all kill some of us, we can't get our people back. Nobody's gonna be the bigger person and say, okay, just leave it alone. They gonna feel like they want to retaliate. You gonna feel like you want to retaliate. So it keep on repeating over and over. So the number gonna keep increasing. And say everybody dead, and everybody ain't gonna be dead because the people that's younger, when they get big enough or old enough to pick up a gun, they gonna do the same thing as well.
Do you think it's mostly a gang thing, a neighborhood thing, a drug thing?
I mean, it's everything all in one. It's just everybody trying to make a name for themselves.
Want kids, no kids, dead kids, abortion kids. What's going on with the kids? Katie, you the mother of drill, you looking to be the mother of somebody?
You say, Katie, yeah, my baby man is drunk. No. I could have been a baby mama, but that shit don't even fit me. That shit bad for my image. I don't know. I will have me some twins or a little or something soon. But I don't even like a nigga. Like,
oh, she said that shit bad for my image is crazy.
Baby mama, that shit don't even sound right.
But so you think you more like on some type of time you would settle down, have a kid when you on some real family shit and found somebody?
I don't think that's ever gonna happen because I like older men. They shit probably.
You like me. You like so you don't be when you be seeing me on my vacation. You don't be like, she with that old ass man.
Shit,
wait, be hating on me.
Wait if I upload who I'm with. Shit, these young punks can't do shit. They like this too.
I am dead for sure.
But some of them be, I don't know.
So you ain't into the YNs? You don't like little ski masks?
Oh, hell no. I around think he after me, I have to kill him.
Go to grave.
But I might have me a baby, but not right now. I'm going to be a surrogate. I don't even want the baby dead. Just give me the nut.
drill? Who the fuck told these little niggas they drill?
Since the post-war era, when federal housing policy had deliberately concentrated black families in high-rise public housing projects, while white families were subsidized.
There might be on the verge of being taken in by the devil.
I mean, when you're dealing with substances and all of that other shit, I consider that the enemy. So that's the devil to me.
How did you battle with you using substances and stuff? You said you was taking perks.
I have anxiety real bad. Like nobody knew I was off nothing unless I told them. Like I ain't out here eyes twitching, mouth twitching, none of that. Yeah. I really did it, and it was for a cry out for help as well. You know. And one day I started losing people to fentanyl, to and it scared me, and I just stopped cold blooded. And having withdrawals and stuff, that stuff is serious too. It's a real challenge, but
at that time, how many perks you think you were taking?
Shit, I don't know. Once it got the wind down, I'm doing another one. Yeah.
So you think guys to leave for the suburbs by the closing of schools and hospitals and mental health clinics and job training programs that had happened in waves through the 1990s and into the new century. By the demolition of the public housing developments themselves, a policy decision that dispersed thousands of families from the concentrated geography where, whatever its problems, community had been built and maintained for generations. The plan for transformation.
Especially when a lot of people think that females have to sell themselves to get on. Like, I went about it another way, and that's why I get a lot of respect to it. But it feels good because I want to stay trained for the females too. Right. So I'm putting on for them. I can't be right.
Right. Okay, so now that you're only pointing this out, what's the public response? I know that your Twitter is always active, you're always retweeting your supporters and everything. So at this point, what other type of feedback have you gotten?
Well, I've been getting a lot of positive. I haven't had any negative responses. Like everybody was saying, like they see that I'm taking music serious now. Like from when I did bands and hit us, like they like just like, oh, okay, right. Got camera then like just clean. You can really see like.
That is what the city of Chicago called it in 1999. When it announced its intention to demolish more than 18,000 public housing units and relocate their residents to mixed-income communities. The Ida B. Wells homes, where Kiara Johnson grew up, where she learned the rules of the world, where she formed the foundational understanding of life that would eventually become her art, was part of that transformation. Demolition of Ida B. Wells began in 2002. The last building came down in 2011. Katie Got Bandz started rapping in 2011.
Dreadhead driller, cashed out nigga, cause I'm a lady hitter. I need a hitter. Dreadhead driller, cashed out nigga, cause I'm a lady hitter.
The same year, the last building of the only home she had ever known was reduced to rubble. Hold that, because there is something in that coincidence. If coincidence is even the right word for the way that profound loss and sudden creative urgency tend to arrive together. That tells you something essential about why drill music emerged when it did, from where it did, from the particular people who made it. When you tear down the physical structure of a community, you do not erase the community itself. You scatter it. You send its members to different neighborhoods, different schools, different corners. You break the physical proximity that made the web of relationships possible, and in doing so, you create a specific kind of grief. The grief of a community that has been forced to watch its geography disappear, while the bonds that geography produced try to maintain themselves across new and unfamiliar distances. Drill music was, among other things, a response to this grief. A sonic record of what it felt like to be young and black and from the south side of Chicago, in the years when the physical landmarks of your world were being systematically erased, while the violence that accompanied that dispersal continued to accelerate. It was music made by people who were watching their neighborhoods change beyond recognition while the danger remained constant. And it was music made, from the beginning, by people who understood that they were unlikely to receive the courtesy of anyone else telling their story accurately. The men
out west, y'all. Neither David gets home. I forgot who else was with us. And we was drinking Patron then, the regular Blanco. Yeah. But these, we was mixing them with them when these came out.
It's different flavors of that? What flavor that is?
Yeah, it's tequila.
Tequila?
Tequila.
Tequila rim.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't rim.
Okay, the rim. Okay, the rim. It's rum.
That sound trim.
Y'all got
Tequila rim sound trim.
What you was drinking before you got here?
Bill? I had a little knock-knock, but that's Kool-Aid. No, I don't drink beer. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. I said drink beer.
Oh, she had
like
the flavor can, the pineapple can.
That was Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid?
That don't do nothing for me.
What was Kool-Aid?
Do y'all not see I drink liquor with liquor? I don't even chase liquor. I chase money. Stop playing.
Oh, my mama. Quit
I
playing
chase liquor with liquor.
That down. Yeah, I can see it next week. Hi, my name's Katie. I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Oh, I recover every day. When I go to sleep and wake up and do it again.
Yeah, a hangover.
Oh. Even when I have a hangover, to get over it, you got to do what you did to get there.
So speaking of drunk, was you drunk when you missed the big jam?
Nope.
What happened?
I don't drink when I work. Do you see me drinking that?
What happened?
Yeah. I didn't miss Big Jam. Big Jam missed me. I now received a deposit.
I love her. They going to pay you.
Of course.
So
I
they
gotta
did
get
pay
paid.
you.
I gotta get paid. I promoted the show from October 17th until December 3rd. What do you mean? I fucked up. I learned the lesson though. You know? Because I bet you now, better not put my name on nothing.
Right.
And I ain't seeing it. But that's because the heart I got. I show up early. When I was early here.
You was early well.
You was early well. Did you just walk in? Did you just walk in?
I was here.
You went and got food?
I was here to tell you.
Your manager told me when I was on the way, you was on the way.
No.
We got here 5 minutes apart.
No.
Ain't that what you said?
5 minutes. No, that's not true.
Let me
tell you about my
Haven't I been talking to her? Cuz you heard her. Did she say y'all should be here around the same time?
That was a lie though.
Ain't no lie.
Call time was 5. It's 6:30.
And we supposed to have been filming at 6 in the
See, now that's different though, because we waited on you so much that we got home.
Yeah,
we waited on
I'm
you.
hungry. I was cooking steak. My little brother finishing my dinner. I ain't ate. What you talking about? Nah, it's steak.
Yeah.
T-bone steak.
Well, what's that?
What's that?
Yeah.
Loaded baked potato, garlic bread salad, and broccoli with cheese.
She just threw that broccoli. I love it.
I eat 5 sandwiches with my
They ain't got the broccoli in there. Y'all eat the broccoli out the bag.
No, nigga, we cook broccoli in the bag and we make organic broccoli, nigga.
How you
boil
make organic broccoli?
Fresh. My bad, fresh. Correct me when I'm wrong. Don't make a fool out of me. I troll myself. I ain't vegan. Do I look like a bitch who get drunk and eat a carrot? Stop playing.
Yeah, what you gonna eat when you get drunk?
I eat meats and meat.
We like organs in here, baby. We got the meat.
And I get my meat eat.
You got meat. Hold on, wait. You get your what?
My meats. I got meats.
You got what meat you got? What kind of meat you got?
Coochie meats.
Who would become the first wave of recognized drill artists: Chief Keef from Englewood, Lil Durk from Calumet Heights, Lil Herb from Englewood, who would later become G Herbo, King Louie from the streets, who would become one of the scene's most prolific and most influential voices. Were all teenagers or barely out of their teenage years when they picked up microphones and started recording the reality of their lives with a directness and a specificity that the music industry had never quite seen from this geography before. But here is the thing that the history of drill music consistently fails to adequately document. Among the people who did this first, before the recognition, and before the record deals, and before the documentaries, and before the national media attention, among the very first people to stake out creative territory in this new sonic landscape, was a teenage girl from 39th Street who studied biology and worked fast food and had no earthly reason to believe that the things she was about to start doing would matter to anyone beyond her own block. The history of Chicago drill has largely been written as if it was made entirely by men. The history is wrong. and this documentary intends to correct it. There is a version of this story that would begin with the music, that would open with the first song, the first video, the first moment of recognition. That version of the story is the one that the music industry prefers, the one that starts with the product and works backward only as far as necessary to establish the brand. We are not going to tell that version of the story, because the version that starts with the music misses the most important thing about Katie Got Bandz. It misses the formation, and the formation is everything. The Ida B. Wells homes, named after Ida Bell Wells Barnett, the journalist and civil rights activist who was born into slavery in 1862, and who spent her adult life documenting and fighting the terrorism of lynching in the American South. A woman whose name was chosen deliberately to honor a legacy of Black women's courage and Black women's intellectual power. The housing development that bore her name was built between 1939 and 1941, eventually expanding to cover 47 acres of the Bronzeville neighborhood on Chicago's South Side, stretching from Martin Luther King Drive to Cottage Grove Avenue between 37th and 41st Streets. At its height, the Ida B. Wells homes housed tens of thousands of Chicago residents. By the time the family of Kiara Johnson arrived, the development had been through the full arc of American public housing's history. The promise and the abandonment, the community and the crisis, the federal investment and the federal disinvestment, the pride and the stigma. It had become, in the broader public imagination, a symbol of what happens when the government concentrates poverty and then removes the resources that might have alleviated it. But Katie Got Bandz does not talk about the Ida B. Wells homes the way the broader public imagined it. She talks about it the way people talk about a place that made them who they are, with a complicated love that does not require the place to have been perfect.
The projects molded me into who I am, she said in a 2019 interview with the Chicago Reader. It had a big impact. Like, I learned a lot. Everybody family too. I love it. I am honored and I am grateful and thankful for growing up the way that I did on 39th Street.
Hold that gratitude in your mind as we walk through what the projects actually taught her, because when you understand the specific lessons that 39th Street and the Ida B. Wells homes was teaching a young Kiara Johnson, you begin to understand where the music came from. You begin to understand why, when she finally picked up a microphone, what came out had a specific quality, a groundedness, a specificity of detail, an emotional realism that distinguished it from the performance of toughness that many observers assumed they were hearing. She has described the community of the projects in terms that reflect the specific texture of that kind of dense, interdependent urban community. Everybody looking out for each other. Neighbors filling the gaps when a household ran short of the basics. No bread, no butter, no milk. You went next door. Community accountability operating through proximity. If you disrespected an elder anywhere on the block, the community itself would correct you before you got home. The guys on the block who, for all their own complexities and their own dangerous situations, maintained a code of protection around the women and children, giving warning before violence was expected, telling the mothers to get their kids inside, to turn the lights off, to lay low.
Go in the house, she remembers them saying. Lay down, turn the lights off.
This is not the story of the projects that the public narrative typically tells. It is the story of a community that was organized, that had internal structures of care and protection and accountability that operated independent of, and often in opposition to, the institutional structures of the city and the state that had failed them. It is the story of people making community out of the materials they had, under conditions not of their choosing. That community, that specific human ecosystem of mutual dependence and informal governance, was what the demolition of Ida B. Wells destroyed. Not the people, not the relationships, not the values, but the physical container that had held those things together. And Katie's observation about what the demolition produced is one of the most quietly devastating things she has ever said publicly.
Actually, with the projects being gone, the crime is worser. Everybody split up. Majority of the people still down here, but it's like people branched off and went to all these other different neighborhoods and getting killed over nonsense. I feel like if the projects was here, a lot of them people would still be alive.
Read that again. The girl who grew up in the housing project that the city demolished in the name of transformation is telling you, from her own lived experience, that the transformation made things worse. That the dispersal of a community did not end the conditions that made violence possible. It removed the social infrastructure that had been regulating it. This is not a naive defense of poverty. It is a precise observation about community, about what holds people together and what happens when you forcibly remove the physical structures of that togetherness. It is the kind of observation that only someone who was actually inside that community, who knew it from the ground level, from childhood, from years of lived participation in its rhythms, could make with the authority that Katie makes it. This is where the music came from. Not from a performance of street authenticity adopted for commercial purposes, from the specific, irreplaceable knowledge of a person who grew up inside one of the most consequential and most misunderstood social experiments in modern American urban history. She wanted to be a biologist. She was studying pre-med at Truman College, a community college on the north side, and working at a fast food restaurant to support herself. These are not the biographical details of someone who was calculating a path to fame. These are the details of a young woman doing exactly what society had told her she should do: pursuing education, maintaining employment, building a conventional path through a world that had not exactly built conventional paths for people who came from where she came from. And then her cousin, a Chicago producer who went by Block on the Track, sat her down, played her a beat. And something shifted. What happened next was not a calculated career move. It was not a brand strategy. It was not a pitch to a label or a carefully considered positioning decision. It was an 18-year-old girl discovering, with the particular shock and recognition that accompanies a genuine calling, that she could do something she had not previously known she could do. That she had a voice. That the voice had power. That the beat her cousin made and the words that came when she opened her mouth were a combination that felt more true, more fully, specifically, accurately true to the life she had actually lived than anything she had accessed before.
I need a hitter.
That was the song. The first real song. The one that established, from the very beginning, exactly who and what Katie Got Bandz was going to be. The production, raw, minimal, aggressive in the specific way that drill production was aggressive, with its dark piano lines and its heavy 808s and its sense of impending violence held at a steady, unhurried pace, was a perfect match for a voice that had grown up on 39th Street and learned the rules of the world from women in hallways and men on corners. The line that the city would remember. The line that would follow her for years, would be quoted and rapped along with and eventually incorporated into the cultural DNA of Chicago's entire drill era. I need a hitta, dreadhead drilla. That line, in the schools, in the cars, in the South Side neighborhoods where the drill era was both being produced and being consumed simultaneously, that line hit. It hit because it was specific. It hit because it was hers. It hit because it carried the weight of the ground it came from. But what happened after that first song is where the story of Katie Got Bandz truly begins. And what happened is both remarkable and, in retrospect, entirely predictable given everything we know about how the music industry treats women who arrive first. Before we can properly locate Katie Got Bandz within the history of Chicago drill, we need to establish what that history actually looked like in its earliest years. Because the version of drill music history that has been most widely distributed is a simplified one. A version with a single origin point and a single primary protagonist centered on one artist and one moment that obscures the complexity of how musical movements actually emerge. Drill music did not begin with a single song or a single artist. It began with a community. It began with a specific concentration of young people in specific South Side neighborhoods who were all, in the same approximate moment, turning to music as the primary creative and emotional outlet available to them in an environment that offered very few others. It began with a specific technological access that YouTube and SoundCloud and the early smartphone era had suddenly made available to people who could never previously have reached any audience beyond their immediate geography. It began with producers who had developed a specific sound, a response to the Atlanta trap music that had dominated the previous decade, filtered through Chicago's own musical lineage and adapted to the specific emotional register of the South Side street experience. The sound was distinct. If you have heard Chicago drill, and if you have spent any time with this channel, you have heard it in the videos and the samples that accompany our own work. You know that it occupies a specific sonic space that is immediately identifiable. The tempo is slower than Atlanta trap. The piano lines are darker, more minor key, with a quality that someone once described as sounding like a horror movie score adapted for a cookout. The 808 bass is prominent and deliberate. The hi-hat patterns are crisp and insistent. The whole sonic architecture creates a sense of tension held at a low boil, not the explosive energy of East Coast hip-hop, not the smoothed-out melodicism of West Coast rap, but something uniquely Chicago. Something that sounds, if you know what you are listening for, exactly like what it is. The sound of young people processing an environment that is simultaneously their home and their danger. The producer most commonly credited with crystallizing the drill sound is Young Chop. His beats, and the specific combination of elements that made them recognizable, provided the sonic canvas on which the early drill era was painted. Chief Keef, whose I Don't Like released in 2012, became the moment when the national media became fully aware that something significant was happening on Chicago's South Side, was the most visible figure in the first wave. His energy, his look, his adolescent fearlessness, his YouTube presence, all of it combined to make him the face that the wider world attached to the new sound. But here is what the story of Chief Keef consistently fails to adequately represent. He was surrounded. The drill scene that he was part of, the ecosystem that made his emergence possible and that gave the sound its depth and variety, was full of people who were equally talented, equally rooted in the specific reality of Southside Chicago, equally committed to using the new digital tools of the moment to make their voices heard. Lil Durk was there from the beginning, building a catalog and a following that would eventually dwarf in commercial scale what any of his contemporaries achieved. Lil Herb was there, the teenager from Englewood who would eventually become G Herbo, one of the most critically respected and emotionally powerful rappers of his generation. King Louie was there, the figure that many people in the Chirac scene regard as drill's genuine godfather, the artist whose influence runs through the DNA of the sound in ways that his commercial profile has never adequately reflected. And Katie Got Bandz was there, not as an afterthought, not as a peripheral figure who existed on the edges of the real scene and benefited from proximity to the people who mattered, but as a genuine, active, creatively significant participant in the emergence of something that would eventually reshape global music culture. The New York Times recognized this. In October 2012, before most of the country had developed a clear picture of what was happening in Chicago's hip-hop scene, critic John Caramanica wrote a piece headlined, "Chicago Hip-Hop's Raw Burst of Change." The piece was among the first national coverage to treat the drill scene as a significant musical and cultural development, rather than simply as a vehicle for discussing violence, and Katie Got Bandz was in it, not as a supporting character in someone else's story, as a central figure in the emergence of a new sound. Vice wrote about her in December 2012. The specific piece, Katie Got Bandz explains what it means to call a fool an op, was notable because it centered her voice and her perspective on the cultural language that was emerging from the drill scene. The term op, which has since traveled far beyond Chicago into the general vocabulary of global hip-hop, was at that point still hyper-local. And Katie was one of the people who explained it to the wider world. Pitchfork reviewed Drillery Clinton, her 2013 mixtape, giving it a 5.5. which is, by the standards of how Pitchfork treated most drill music from this era, engagement rather than dismissal. They noticed her. They showed up. They put their critical apparatus to work on what she was making. These are not the coverage patterns of a peripheral figure. These are the coverage patterns of someone who was identified, by the most attentive observers of the scene, as being genuinely significant from the beginning. But here is what the coverage patterns did not translate into. They did not translate into a major label deal with real structural support behind it. They did not translate into the kind of marketing and distribution investment that would have put her music in the ears of listeners beyond the early adopters who were paying close attention to Chicago in 2012 and 2013. They did not translate into the sustained institutional backing that converts a talented and critically noticed artist into a commercially successful one. And that gap, the gap between the critical attention and the institutional investment, is one of the central facts of the story we are here to tell. But before we get to the gap, we need to fully establish what she was doing, what she was building, who she was becoming in that early period when everything was still possible and the full dimensions of the industry's indifference had not yet made themselves plain. Because you cannot understand the loss without first understanding what was there to be lost. There is a video. It is 11 seconds of footage from a Chicago rapper named Shady's 2011 music video called Go In. In those 11 seconds, a young woman appears, 18 years old, wearing a white top, moving with a casual, relaxed confidence that reads simultaneously as playful and absolutely serious. She is holding what she has described as a deuce, a small caliber handgun, and she is swaying with it in a movement that is somewhere between a dance and a demonstration. The movement is distinctive. It is rhythmic. It has a specific quality of nonchalance that, in the specific context of the early drill era's visual grammar, communicated exactly what it was intended to communicate. This is a person who is comfortable in this world. This is a person who belongs here. That 11-second clip became a meme. It circulated on Twitter, on Tumblr, on the early social media platforms where internet culture was being created in real time. People shared it. People laughed. People who knew Chicago knew exactly who they were looking at. A girl from the low end who had shown up in Shady's video and immediately owned the room. People who did not know Chicago simply knew that the clip had a specific energy, a specific presence, that made it impossible to scroll past. That clip launched Katie Got Bandz into a dimension of public visibility that complemented and amplified what her music was already doing on the ground in Chicago. But here is what the meme obscured then and continues to obscure now. The gun dance was not a performance of borrowed toughness. It was not a strategic appropriation of street aesthetic for the sake of video impact. It was Kiara Johnson from 39th Street doing what Kiara Johnson from 39th Street did, moving through the world with the specific physical confidence of someone who had grown up in an environment where physical confidence was survival equipment. The gun dance was not theater, it was autobiography. This distinction matters enormously when we consider how the image has been received and how Katie herself has discussed it. In a world where female rappers are constantly evaluated through the lens of authenticity versus performance, where the question of whether a woman is really who she presents herself to be is raised with an intensity that is rarely applied to her male counterparts, the gun dance has been used both to celebrate and to diminish her. The celebration: she was fearless, she was real, she was something genuinely new. The diminishment: she was a gimmick. She was a novelty. The moment was the whole career. Both readings missed the point. The gun dance was one moment in a full and sustained artistic practice that extended well beyond any single image. But the meme became, for a significant portion of her eventual audience, the primary reference point, the thing they knew her from, the thing they quoted when they talked about her. And the reduction of a complete artist to her most viral moment is itself part of the story of how recognition functions in the social media era. It is one of the mechanisms through which a pioneer becomes a reference point rather than a subject, a thing to quote rather than a person to understand. I Need a Hitta was the song that established her creative identity. Pop Out, featuring King Louie, the artist widely respected as the godfather of drill, the man who had been rapping since the earliest days of the scene and who had mentored and collaborated with virtually every major figure in Chicago drill's first generation, was the song that confirmed her place in the canon. The collaboration with King Louie was significant beyond its commercial and critical reception. King Louie was, at that point, one of the most credible and most respected figures in the entire Chicago rap ecosystem. His cosign was not casually given. His decision to work with Katie Got Bandz, to appear on her record, to lend his credibility and his established relationship with the drill sound to her platform, was a statement. It said that this girl from 39th Street was the real thing, that her voice and her perspective belonged in the conversation that the most serious practitioners of the sound were having. Pop Out, which Pitchfork noted in its 2019 retrospective on 11 songs that defined Chicago drill, is a document of that moment. It is a record of what Katie Got Bandz sounded like at the height of her early creative power, in partnership with one of the scene's genuine titans. The video, with the specific visual grammar of the early drill era, the handheld camera work, the unaffected directness of the performance, the absence of the commercial sheen that would later distinguish mainstream rap production from its street-level origins, captures something that cannot be manufactured. The specific energy of a person who is exactly where they should be, doing exactly what they were made to do. The mixtape series, Drillery Clinton. The name is a masterpiece of the specific kind of humor that emerges when you live at the intersection of political despair and creative defiance, was the vehicle through which she built her catalog. Drillery Clinton in 2013, Drillery Clinton 2 in 2014, Coolin' in Chirac also in 2014, 0 to 39th in 2015. The title alone a piece of autobiography, a declaration of origin that refuses to let the audience forget where she came from. Drillery Clinton 3 on December 23, 2015. The name Drillery Clinton, which she also used as an alternate moniker, Drillery, is worth sitting with for a moment, because it tells you something about how she understood her own work. Hillary Clinton was, at that point, a figure of considerable cultural power, the former Secretary of State, the inevitable future presidential candidate. The name superimposed that power and that political ambition onto the specific world of Chicago drill, and in doing so, made an argument. What Katie Got Bandz was building had the scale of something political, had the ambition of something that intended to govern, had the hunger of something that expected to win. She was 20 years old when she started building this catalog. She was simultaneously navigating the specific social pressures of being a young woman in the hyper-masculine world of Chicago drill. And she was doing it without the safety net of major label infrastructure, without a management team with industry experience, without the specific forms of institutional protection that might have allowed her to make her mistakes and survive them rather than being defined by them. That navigation of the creative opportunity and the social pressure and the institutional absence is the subject of the next chapter. And it is the most important chapter for understanding why the story of Katie Got Bandz is not simply the story of an artist who was ahead of her time. It is the story of a system that was designed at a structural level to ensure that women who arrived first paid the highest price for that arrival. Here is something that the documentary record of the early Chicago drill era will confirm if you look at it carefully. The scene was built on a logic of masculine solidarity that had room for women as subjects but very rarely as equals. The violence that generated the music was, predominantly, violence between men. The territorial disputes, the crew affiliations, the specific grammar of aggression and retaliation that powered the lyrical content of drill. These were structured along lines that relegated women to specific supporting roles in the narrative. The girl from the neighborhood, the one the men protected, the one the men loved or desired, the one whose suffering became testimony to the seriousness of the conflict. Women who insisted on being narrators rather than subjects, who stepped into the position of the one with the microphone, the one telling the story, the one demanding that her perspective on the same world be given the same creative authority, were stepping into a space that had not been cleared for them. They were making room for themselves by force of will and talent in an environment that did not have a structural place prepared for their arrival. Katie Got Bandz did this. Sasha Go Hard did it. Shady, who appeared in the same Go In video where Katie became famous, did it. The women who insisted on authorship changed the scene, even when credit lagged.